Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. Just a short disclaimer before we begin the show. The information, ideas, or opinions shared by the guests do not necessarily reflect the views of the Federal. It's day three of the conflict between India and Pakistan. But where is the situation headed to? Because there's a lot of anxiety. Is the conflict widening? Also, there is abundance of misinformation. But how does one tackle that? And what is the kind of impact we see with the state of the art weapons and ammunitions being used? So we'll try and discuss all of this. There are lots of developments happening uh, over throughout the day. And just now, I was reading somewhere that the center has asked the army to rope in the territorial army as well. So we'll try and discuss all of this. That how does one tackle the situation? Does it look like a war? Is it escalating? How long will this situation continue? And what does one do to mitigate the panic which is there, which is quite visible at this point of time? Joining me now is retired Rear Admiral Suresh Grewal. So thank you so much for joining. We have also joining us is retired Brigadier Ajit Apte. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll begin the discussion with Brigadier Apte. How do you see the current situation unfolding, sir? It's day three. There's a lot of anxiety. But we also see, despite the fact that the government has repeatedly said that they are just responding to the terror attack which took place in Pahalgam on 22nd. But do you think that somewhere down the line is Pakistan trying to provoke the country, provoke India? And where is the situation headed to?
Yeah, Neelu, thank you very much. Uh, you have already spelled the preamble, so I'll take off from there, which we've been harping upon. The first point is we carried out a response to what happened on 22nd April, and that response was delivered on night 6th and 7th May 2025. That response was a selection of 9 targets out of the 21 that we had, and these 9 were across the line of control and some perhaps across the international border, where we had credible intelligence and information that these are the places of the terrorist hideouts, their bases, their launch pads, and their main control centers. So we did a proper analysis out of 21 and we selected 9 and we hit them. And we hit them with standoff uh, delivery systems, ammunition, whether they were missiles. I will not specify the nature and the type of ammunition used, but it is well known and it has come out in public domain. They were definitely missiles delivered from a aerial to ground missile action from a standoff distance. Also, definitely the closer targets would have been engaged by our artillery. Again, I will not specify the caliber of the guns, but that will depend on what was the distance from the particular area that is across the line of control. So this was delivered, and definitely once that happens, we did anticipate and expect a response from the other side. This is a normal military thinking appreciation that we do. The armed forces does it, the army, navy, and the air force, and we carry out an assessment that what could be the possible, retaliation to our actions. So that is calculated. But what happened yesterday night, that is night 8th, 7th and 8th, is that there was a strong response where the scale and magnitude of the actions by Pakistan were a little above what our expectations or anticipated response from their side was expected. So that was a little degree higher. And as we know, it has been well reported on all channels that there were multiple simultaneous attacks by drones, some by the single drone, some by the swarm drone attacks. And they were delivered right from the north. I will not repeat the names because we all know it. Srinagar, Jammu, Udhampur, then you come to Pathankot, then Jalandhar and all these places, including the Western Front across the international border. We have maintained our stance that we have targeted only the terrorist bases, and therefore this is not a war. This is actually a retaliation on the very perpetrators of terror. That is what we have targeted, and our point of view is very clear. As far as the other side is concerned, they have escalated the ladder by engaging non-military targets and some military targets also. We never engaged their military targets. So this is definitely one notch higher in the escalation ladder. That is number one. Secondly, are they are they definitely planning to hit our urban areas or not? This is something which only they will decide. But as of now, classically, they have not hit any of our urban areas. There's a subtle difference I wish to bring out between a targeting strategy and the hitting part. So, a targeting strategy will actually make a big chart of what are the targets to be hit or targeted, what are the locations. But it's not necessary that all of them got hit. In fact, as we know, the percentage of hits on the planned targets was minimal. Whereas on our side, when we targeted as a response to their attacks on us, our rate of success of the hit probability was definitely more. So it is very clear that our air defense systems and the air defense umbrella neutralized midair or negated them all the other types of delivery systems they were resorting to, whether they were drones, whether they were swarm drones, whether they were missiles, or whether they were rockets. But they have also been reported to be firing with their medium artillery guns to carry out interdiction of our highways. Now, this is an important point. At the same time, in our scale and magnitude of response, we have not carried out any long-term interdiction. We have not selected targets for interdiction, strategic interdiction. Probably we have only hit where the germination of the terrorist camps takes place. So we have restrained, we have controlled, but if the scale and magnitude of further responses increases, then I'm afraid we will have to think our strategy again. So it's a process of evolution as far as the armed forces is concerned. We carry out our own reconnaissance. We carry out an appraisal of all our intelligence reports, intelligence summaries, and then we decide and put up the viable options, which are approved by the Ministry of Defense as also by the government. So
Right.
any retaliatory action will be with a proper authority and response. And one more thing I wish to state here, since you asked me, have we jumped up the escalation ladder? No. In case we wish to reach the threshold of war, which has not been reached, remember the ground forces or the ground troops will come into action. Now, if you look at the posturing of our Indian Navy, which I'm sure Admiral Garewal will be able to throw much more light on, but our Indian Navy is on a high alert, basically on a preventive mode to thwart any enemy designs at high seas. Also, to give that credible deterrence to the enemy that our coastline and our waters are safely secure and guarded. At the same time, our Indian Air Force has also is in full standby alert for any anticipated misadventure by the enemy. Similarly, our ground forces, I will not spell it out because these are confidential matters, but I know that whatever is required to be placed at the correct spot and location has already been done, and whatever is not supposed to be put up in the show window or even moved ahead has not been done because
Right.
those will be clear indications of what our intentions would be, which at the moment I don't think we have reached that threshold.
Admiral Grewal, there's a lot of misinformation also, uh, which is seen on both sides of the border. Now, how does one tackle a situation like this? Because obviously there's panic amongst the citizens. What we are seeing all around is that people are stocking up rations, people are tanking up their vehicles with fuels. There are questions, as to whether the prices will increase. Then there are questions whether we should travel or not. So, what should be the current status of the things as far as issuing advisories are concerned, so that to minimize this panic amongst the people?
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, what happens is the civil defense that we discuss, mock drills and all, one of the roles of the civil defense is to prevent panic in civilian population. Civilian population panics due to gossip and rumors. And if the mainstream media channels add to the gossip or rumors, or they actually unknowingly propagate it, panic starts. But there is always a corrective measure, and I think public is quite discerning. There may be some people who may be stocking up, but in general, I don't think public is that much, into panic, or they think something is going to go wrong. Yes, they know it's an high alert state between the two countries. It's an operationally active time. It is not war time. It is less than war situation, and public can be advised through the same media channels who are adding to the rumors, can actually say that don't get carried away, because some of the information may not be authenticated. You need authenticated information, and that is why these official briefings are required. So it can actually, the civil administration, the local municipal corporations or panchayats, and it's a normal announcement system that yes, we are going through a operationally active time. It's not really it's certainly not a war time, and it can be tackled by this administration, civil administration.
Right. And to you, Mr. Grewal, that it seems that the advisories which are coming from the government, they are cautioning people, and especially the mainstream media channels. There is this morning also there was an advisory from the Defense Ministry that refrain from the live coverage of the events. Which goes to send out a very clear message to the TV channels who are doing any kind of live coverage. What is your assessment of the media coverage so far? I mean, it's day 3, and the kind of warmongering we see, is that a right step? Should one refrain from that? What is your assessment of the situation, the way media is covering the situation currently?
It is certainly not the desired level, I would say, because and at times we cross the ethical boundaries. That because media is, first ethic of media is to verify and make sure that it's a fact. Then only report. Otherwise, you lose your credibility. But what happens is when you want to be the first to report, because most of the channels say first on this channel, first on this channel, you may not check the facts, and you make a mistake. It's a slip up. But if it becomes a habit, then the channel loses the credibility. The public is the best judge. Public will lose in the public's eye, the channel will lose credibility. They don't trust them. So it's an automatic correction by the system. Government is issuing advisories, and public is very discerning also. They know what is the truth, because you can't keep telling lies and you can't fool the people. Yes, you might, some people may get carried away for some time, but not for all the time. So I think it is doable, and if the situation continues for some more time, the same very channels will come back. Even the people who are involved in discussions or deliberations on the mainstream channels, at times they sound as if they are going to fight the war themselves in the next 2 minutes.
Yes.
And that creates, in a way, hyperactiveness, and people start reacting to it. They should also try and curtail their emotions, because you are sitting in a place where you got no threat to yourself. Why should you be overreacting? And it becomes, and emotions is one part that influence the other person's emotions also. If one of the reporters is emotional, all the people responding or asking, when you ask them to respond, they'll also respond in an emotional manner. Emotions have got no place in operations.
Right. Brigadier Apte, there were a lot of channels which said that Pakistan has tried to target the border areas in an Hamas style. Let's say, for example, yesterday in the evening we saw that parts of Jammu and Kashmir they were targeted. Then there were several drone attacks and missile attacks in Punjab as well. Say, for example, in Pathankot and now the latest we saw some pictures of missiles coming from Hoshiarpur, or sorry, the debris of the missile. Uh, what is Pakistan's strategy, and the manner in which the Indian armed forces have been able to neutralize it? Does it establish the military assertiveness on the Indian side that they are much better than the Pakistan's caliber?
As regards the Hamas style and their selection of targets, the variety of targets, and the expanse of the target area, uh, I will say that you see they have very little analysis to do like we have done. We carried out a detailed analysis. What is it that we wish to do, how to do it, and when to do it? As far as they are concerned, they have not carried out any pre-selection at all. They are at random, just engaging our locations because we had a specific mission. They don't have a specific mission. We had a specific target. We had a specific aim, and we carried out an appreciation in the following manner. What is our aim? What is the task? What is the terrain? What are the resources? What is the time frame? And what is the best? We carried out number of options, then decided on the best option and made that the final plan. In their case, it is not so. They have become, impulsive. They have become reactionary, and they thought that they should engage on a wider front. So they have selected anything from the top: Srinagar, Jammu, now you said Hoshiarpur, Amritsar, all Pathankot coming down right up to Bhuj. They have carried out a random selection because they know wherever they will hit us, it will hit us uh, to hurt us. Because sometimes it can be a hit which doesn't hurt much, but they want to hit us and hurt us to give us a feeling that what we have done, we need to realize that. But they don't know, they don't realize that we did a very calculated task, we did it in a proper fashion, and we did it with a lot of application of common sense and knowledge. They are behaving like a child goes amok, and that is what they are behaving like. Now, as far as the weapon systems are concerned, our air defense systems, that is held by the Army Air Defense and by our own Air Force, because the air defense umbrella to a country is a combination of the ground based systems and the air based systems. The air platforms by the Air Force to prevent enemy penetration, and by our own Army Air Defense to suitably neutralize mid-air the enemy missiles which are coming on to us. So our effectiveness, I will rate it as over 90%. Our air defense gunners have done marvelous work. They have been accurate in their assessment, accurate and with credible information and intelligence have countered the entering enemy missiles, drones, or other ammunition systems which have been sent into our country. They've done it effectively. So our air defense umbrella has been nearly foolproof, and I'm sure that this integration between the Army and the Air Force and in the coastal areas by the Navy whenever it is required will be absolutely foolproof. But remember one thing, that in all systems there are always marginal errors. So it will be imprudent to say that we have a 100% free coverage zone, or that we are not vulnerable at all. We are, but that percentage would be minimal, not more
Right.
than a window of about 8 to 10%. On the other hand, our capability, our capability to strike on the selected targets as our counter response or our retaliatory mechanism has been 95% successful to prove that the enemy's air defense umbrella is no match to ours. So our professionalism of our gunners, of our armed forces, that's the Army, Navy, and the Air Force, I can say very proudly, with the new kinds of missile systems, ammunition, and weapons, all I will say the current generation, as I compare it to mine, has been absolutely top class. So it has proved to the nation that our Army, Navy, and Air Force are absolutely ready for anything which is required to be done in the best possible manner to emerge victorious.
Admiral Grewal, how long will this conflict last? Nobody knows. So, does it look like a long haul, or you see, the conclusion of this Operation Sindoor soon?
When we responded with our surgical strike, we left a window open to the other side to call it off. We did not strike any of the military or infrastructure as such, except the terrorist infrastructure, terrorism headquarters, and terrorist camps. So we had actually left the window open that we don't mean anything against the Pakistani public or the Pakistani official government side. But after the strike, what we've seen is that there people in uniform are the majority attending the last rites of the funeral of the terrorists. It proves that what we think is terrorist and not the government organization is very much part of the system. And this is acceptable. Just imagine the army chief in Pakistan, who is the most powerful person in that country, goes and meets somebody in the hospital. Who can it be? It has to be a person of very high status or means a lot to him, or he is a personal relative. This proves their nexus with the terrorism. As far as targeting is concerned, my reading of the situation is each unit, even on the Pakistani side, who is deployed for against us, will have a certain area of responsibility. It may be an all covering kind of an order that take retaliatory measures against the other side because they struck us. So all these targets, all these units will have some targets already selected as per their area of responsibility. So they would have launched their weapon systems against those targets which are given to them in normal course of time. Normally, these are not likely to be population centers. Because when you talk about population centers, it becomes a different level of escalation. Then the retaliatory or reprisal strikes from our side could be unbearable for them, because we can't just keep being idealist that we will not strike the public when they start hitting our public cities. Or it could be one odd case where by mistake some missile has gone wrong. But if they start doing deliberate strike on our public places or on our public habitation and all, the reprisal will be very, very difficult for them also. So as of now, I don't think they'll be targeting cities or population centers. They have just randomly, as I feel, they selected all the targets that they had otherwise listed down in their area of responsibility, and they carried out these attacks, which our side air defense was that time active on high alert, and they have been able to intercept. But no air defense system or no defense system can be 100% foolproof, as Brigadier Apte sir said. So we should not be surprised if something goes through it.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's a very good system.
Right. Okay, so we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold, but one has to be vigilant as to what is really happening and keep taking stock of the situation, and also depend only on the official sources not go by any kind of warmongering. Thank you so much, Brigadier Apte and Admiral Suresh Grewal. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.
Thank you.